to the DMF. I am your host, Justin Yantz, and this is episode 82, and I'm going to be talking about the NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. I'm going to talk about nights 1 and 2, and so stay tuned. Okay, so this was the last night of the Wednesday Night Wars. And so they capped it off with the NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. So let's talk about night 1. Night 1 started off with Zoe Starks defeating Toni Storm. I don't know how I feel about this so much. It was an upset. It was won by a cradle. She was going for the Storm Zero, Toni Storm, and she reversed it into a cradle. So it's more of a fluke win. But to me, Toni Storm should not be doing jobs for anything. To me, it just, I don't know. I don't really like that. The show started off with Pete Dunne and Kushida. And this was probably Kushida's, probably his best match in WWE. Like he's now starting to I think find his stride and know where he wants to go as a performer. So, but Pete Dunne defeated him with the bitter end. But really good match. I thought this was really well done. Bronson Reed won the Gauntlet Eliminator. So he would go on to face Johnny Gargano the next night. Walter versus Tommaso Ciampa. Wow. This was something to be seen. This was on another level. Walter, to me, got the most credibility of anybody in WWE or like any professional wrestler right now. To me, that's the guy who should be facing Brock Lesnar. That's the guy who should be facing Roman Reigns. That's the guy who should be your guy. He's the ultimate guy they should be going with. And I don't know. If I were them, I would pay him whatever he wants and get the matches with Brock and get the matches with Roman, because those would be really good. Because as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. I think he's underutilized here, but I think that's by design. Now he has been the NXT UK champion for almost over 2 years, which is saying something. But this match was just off the page, that brutal style that only Walter can do. Walter has that style, you believe everything he does. It all feels believable. It feels real. His matches don't feel patterned. This was great. I really love this match, if you can't tell. If you want to watch any match from these NXT takeovers, this is the match to watch for me. Just, wow. I love Walter. I really do. I want to see him on the main roster, but in some ways, I don't want to see him on the main roster because I think they'll screw him up. This man should never lose. He should never do jobs. If he does do a job, it should be like once. And he shouldn't do a job in WWE for like years before they do anything. And knowing Vince, they'll job him out on night 1. So, keep him in NXT. The match was won. Walter ended up retaining his UK championship by using the sleeper suplex, and then he did the hard chop, and he got the pinfall on Tommaso Ciampa. And Tommaso Ciampa looked great in this because he kicked out of a lot of things. He got a lot of stuff in, so even in defeat, he looks good. This was just great. Great stuff. The tag titles were on for the vacant tag titles. We had MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Legado de Fantasma. Or Fantasia. I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't watch enough of NXT. I mean, I'm going to start watching more NXT. But MSK won with the Doomsday Blockbuster after Carter hit Verz with the double cutter. And Gibson was pinned. And that was, I liked this match. It wasn't my favorite. Walter was my favorite of night 1. But this was a really good match. Really, if you like that, if you like the NXT style of, who's going to win type thing, this was great. This is a great match. This, to me, would be number 2 in some ways. And then we get to the main event, Raquel Gonzalez versus Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. And they did a lot here to make Raquel Gonzalez look like a monster here. And Io Shirai looked good, in defeat. It was ended by Raquel beat her with the one-arm power bomb. I figured coming into this that Raquel was getting the title. I mean, I just didn't see. I mean, Io's almost held it for a year. I mean, that's pretty good. What else can you do? And Raquel has a lot of stuff going for her, so I think it was a smart move to make her champion. Let's make her something. It's funny. She kind of came in as was it Dakota Kai's second, and she's kind of above Dakota Kai now. But yeah, Raquel Gonzalez looking really good. They really made her a star in this match, and this was a good way to cap off the night. Was it as good as, to me, the quintessential best matches, which have been Sasha Banks and Bayley? When I look at the women's matches, I always put it to those two. So I thought it was good. It's not my favorite. I feel like Io Shirai's been kind of, I don't know, they've kind of downgraded her in some ways, but in some ways she's really good. I don't know, it's kind of frustrating because, you have to they have to lose sometime, And a lot of NXT's best work is when they don't beat a person, like Walter and Asuka. They got over in having winning streaks and never really losing. And then they come up to the main roster and you see them just become nothing. So, I don't know, it's frustrating to me, but I really like night one. And when we come back, I'm going to talk about, well, wait. Let me, so number one, Walter versus Ciampa. That's the best. That, to me, was the best match of the night. Second, MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans versus Legado de Fantasma. Is it Phantasma or Fantasia? I can't tell. Phantasma sounds better. And then Raquel versus Io Shirai. Or maybe Pete Dunne versus Kushida. I don't know. This was like Kushida finally finding his stride. So really good job on night one. The only thing I didn't like was really Toni Storm doing the job. I think she's somebody that needs to be one of your guys. I don't think she'll be beating Raquel Gonzalez, but she'll probably be the first person to go after her. I think Toni Storm should be on the main roster now, but I don't trust them with what they do with her. So maybe it's good that they do keep her in NXT. And I already said that with Walter, and I've said that with other guys. But when you watch WWE booking, it's kind of frustrating. So when we come back, I'm going to talk about night two. So stay tuned. So night two of NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver. I don't know if it was as good as night one, but so let's look at the pre-show match. We had Killian Dane and Drake Maverick defeating Breezango to become the number one contenders to the NXT Tag Team Championships. This was, a nice, good little opener. Not my favorite, but, it was good. So let's get into the main show. The main show, we had Santos Escobar versus Jordan Devlin, and this is for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, the undisputed NXT Cruiserweight Championship, which is a ladder match, thanks to Shawn Michaels, who threw the ladder in there, and it's probably the best way for him to do anything, just come out there and throw a ladder in the ring. So this is Thursday night. And this is right before they're going to go to Tuesday. They had a really good match. This was a really, really good match. This is a fun little match. It ended with Escobar defeating Jordan Devlin in the ladder match. He hit a headbutt through the canvas through a ladder, and Escobar Actually, Escobar climbed up and he took threw Devlin off of it, and Escobar ended up grabbing the title and winning. And afterwards, Escobar celebrated with his son and Legado de Fantasma. It's Phantasma, not Fantasia. I don't know why it changed my notes to Fantasia on the last thing, but apparently it did. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, they defeated The Way to retain their NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. I thought this was okay. It wasn't my favorite. Blackheart fought out with the Indiguri, and then they hit a double eclipse on both the opponents and the diving senton from Blackheart, and that was how they won. Gable Stevenson was in the crowd, the NCAA champion and Olympic amateur wrestler. So that was interesting because he looks like a guy that they're scouting or is already there, I think. Johnny Gargano with Austin Theory versus Bronson Reed. This was a nice little match. Johnny Gargano gets the win. I thought they needed to kind of give this to Bronson Reed, but they didn't. It ended with Gargano hit the one final beat, and then he retained the championship after Bronson Reed missed the moonsault, and he kind of just went in with the one final beat and beat him. So Gargano is still the NXT North American champion. But yeah, so that was good. Now we come to the double main event. We have Karrion Kross with Scarlett versus Finn Balor for the NXT championship. A lot of people didn't like this match. I liked this match. I thought this was a nice, hard-hitting match, and it really showcased Karrion Kross. This has probably been his best match in WWE, and that's probably thanks to Finn Balor. Finn Balor, bumped and made him look great. The finish was interesting because so Finn had he had a grounded abdominal stretch, and we had Scarlett who's like screaming at him to grab the rope, and he finally does, and then he crushes Balor with the second Doomsday Saito, which was kind of brutal. It looked like it went right on his neck. And then he hit 2 running forearm smashes, and that was enough to pin Balor. This was a great way for him to lose the title. Karrion Kross, remember, he defeated Keith Lee, and then he got hurt, and he had to relinquish the title immediately. So now he's got the title back. They're going to give him, obviously, a run. I thought he was going to go right up to the main roster, but I think Triple H wants to protect him, and he needs a little bit more seasoning, I would say. So Karrion Kross, he ends Finn Balor. This was a nice... I liked this match. I really did. I thought this really made Karrion Kross look like a beast, and I thought Finn Balor did a great job of showcasing that, and I don't think there's been a match that really has shown that. So this was I thought this was a really good match. And that will take us to the main event, which is Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole in an unsanctioned match. They went 40 minutes. I thought this was too long. They did everything under the sun. They had chains, they had weapons, they did so many spots, so many finishing maneuvers. My problem is, after watching AEW and seeing blood, it looks tame. They could have gotten away with this like a year ago, but now that AEW is doing blood and, really showing, brutality, it looks fake to me when they get chair shots and they hit these things and they don't bleed and they don't do anything because we don't do blood in WWE. So to me, it just, I don't know, it just went too long. I thought it was a good match though, but it's not my favorite. I thought Walter was a better match. This just, I felt dragged on, and I was just like, toward the end, I was like, okay, is it over? I felt like they missed the point of no return. And this seems to be something I'm seeing a lot with Adam Cole, and I love Adam Cole, but I think his matches are too long and they're doing way too many things under the sun. They did this a lot with the Johnny Gargano matches. The first one at Takeover, what was it, 2 years ago, when to me is the best match. The 2 out of 3 falls match was the best match. Is still the best match in NXT history, followed by Johnny Gargano versus Andrade. This was, it's too long. It ended with O'Reilly. He had wrapped the chair around Cole's ankle, and he was setting up for a diving stomp, but Cole popped up, and he hit him with the chair. Then they were in the corner, and Cole was saying, you betrayed me, saying you would always. And then Riley sent him to the mat with a low blow, and then O'Reilly then dropped the chain around his knee and hit a diving knee drop to finally pick up the win. Cole did a stretcher job after the show. I think they both kind of did a stretcher job, it looked like. It was good, it's too long. I don't, it just dragged. Long is not always better, unless you know how to pace it well. New Japan guys are very good at pacing the match at 40 minutes or 30 minutes and making it not feel like it was 40 minutes. This felt like 40 minutes. And it's too much. And I just felt like, this is the first match, and we're already doing this. Now, I know they had to, do this to, settle, to settle the score, but I don't know. To me, it needed blood. This was a match that needed blood to showcase the brutality, because to me, it doesn't, I can't take it seriously without the blood. Now that other companies are doing blood, it looks fake. They don't need to do a gore job every time, but this was a match that needed it. It's unsanctioned. If you're going to be hitting each other with weapons and stiff shots and everything, I'm sorry, you need to bleed. There needs to be something there. You don't need to do it every time, but this was a match that I felt needed blood. So to me, it was kind of disappointing, but really good match, and they worked really hard. And anybody that thinks that they don't deserve all the props in the world, you're crazy, because they're amazing workers, and this was an amazing match, even though I think it's too long. But you can't take anything away from their work. Their work is second to none. They are some of the best performers out there. They, we're lucky that they haven't gone to the main roster and been ruined, because I feel like they'd be ruined immediately. But this was good. I thought it was really good, but it's too long for me, and I think it needed blood. But the work was excellent. And so that was NXT Night 2. I've got to say, you have to say that, the best match is Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole, even if it's not my favorite match. My favorite match was Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor. That would probably be number 2 on the work rate, followed by Gargano and Bronson Reed. Yeah, kind of, and then the ladder match, and then Shotzi Blackheart. That was probably my least favorite match, and then the opening thing. I thought this was good. Good takeover. Another great night. NXT always impresses and always delivers on NXT Stand and Deliver, which is funny. They always deliver on Stand and Deliver. So great job on that. And when I come back, I'll give my final thoughts on both nights. So, all in all, I thought NXT Takeover Stand and Deliver was a terrific show. Really, really delivered. They busted their hump. Every single one of those people in that locker room, the men and the women. Hats off to you. This was a great show. Night 1 or night 2, I don't know. I like them both in some ways. Because night 1 has Walter, and night 2, I really like the Karrion Kross versus Finn Balor match. I thought those were, for me, those are my favorite matches. So, I kind of like those equally in some ways. I think, I don't know if this is the end of Finn Balor in NXT. I hope not, because he will not be used well in the main roster. So keep him there. I'd like to see Tony Storm be elevated, but I think Raquel Gonzalez is going to have a long reign, and I don't see her losing the title till like the summer at the earliest. Um, yeah. What else did I? I think Johnny Gargano is going to be losing the NXT North American Championship soon. I think Karrion Kross is going to have a long reign. I don't see him going unless they want him in the main roster, which that could happen probably maybe in the summer at the earliest. But I think they want to give him a nice reign. Um, Adam Cole and O'Reilly, I see that feud kind of continuing. Um, yeah, but I thought this was a good, really good show. One thing I didn't talk about was the on night 2, Poppy performed the opening to the show, and on night 1, the person who delivered after the pre-show match, Nita Strauss, she played the Star Spangled Banner, which if any of you rock fans remember, Jimi Hendrix, played the Star Spangled Banner with the guitar. So that's kind of cool. I think Nita Strauss is an amazing guitarist, and that's a cool way to do it. But so this is it. This is the end of the Wednesday Night Wars, and we are going into, let's see what happens with each one. But way to say goodbye to Wednesday and deliver on Thursday. So on Tuesday they had their first show. I thought it was good. It wasn't my favorite, but it's nice. It's a nice show. To me, the highlight was when they brought out Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, and they stood with Raquel Gonzalez, and all held up their titles and kind of said, you got the future, the present, the past type of thing. That was probably my favorite moment. The tag match at the end was, I don't know, too goofy for my taste. I really liked Karrion Kross's promo. I thought that was good. Him kind of laying out the challenge. I'm going to take everybody on. And that was about it. There was no Adam Cole or Kyle O'Reilly. They were both hospitalized or taken to the nearest medical facility, for those of you that know Vince McMahon terms. But so that was that was the first, that was the run-up, that was the follow-up to NXT. I thought I would hit on that a little bit. And I don't know. So let's see what NXT does unopposed from AEW, and let's see what AEW does unopposed. And for that, I want to say thank you for listening. As always, you can follow me at my handle at Justin Yachts, and I'll see you next time on the DMF.